hearing. Thanks everyone for joining us. We got quite a crowd, so I'm glad you're here tonight to discuss the traffic concerns. You know, we've been hearing from many of you, and you've contacted my office, and we're trying to figure out our best and do something about it. And I know there's some things already in the works, and we've got some people on tonight that can kind of bring you up to date from the last time we spoke is what's been going on. But I know there's still work to be done. So I just wanted to let you know that we definitely want to hear from you tonight. We have representatives from the California Highway Patrol. We have representatives from the county's Department of Public Works, the Department of Planning, Department of Planning and Development Services, and from the Sheriff's Office. We're all here ready to answer questions and help me address some of the concerns. I'm not the expert on traffic. I sit in it, but I'm not the expert on it. And we have them with us tonight, so hopefully we can ease some of the pains. So I want to start by saying we really appreciate hearing from the community. And I know Valley Center has a traffic advisory committee that works closely with our Department of Public Works, and the planning group also has a subcommittee devoted to mobility. And we plan on continuing to work closely with each of these community groups. And tonight, though, we want to hear from you and find out if there's anything that we're missing. We know there are speeding issues on Valley Center Road. We're also aware of the issues at numerous intersections along the corridor along Valley Center Road, including the Mirar de la Valle, the Ridge Ranch Road, Lilac Road, and Cold Grade Roads. Those are the ones we've kind of heard a lot about. We've also had numerous concerns about DUIs. And with the casino traffic and the increased traffic as everyone is preparing for the new Park Circle development. So we want you to hear, and I've invited the CHP, California Highway Patrol, and the county staff to address some of the short-term as well as some of the long-term actions we can try to make Valley Center even safer. But first, we're gonna open it up to the community to ask if there's anything else that we're missing. I mentioned a few of those roads here, the intersections, the DUIs, the speeding. And Shayna is here from my office. She's going to help moderate the questions and kind of get us rolling along. And I understand if you got items in the chat to put things in the chat room, and we'll try to get all the questions tonight. And we've got some very high-level, valuable people here from the county that we want to make sure that they're able to weigh in and address some of the issues as well as what we have been doing and what the plans are. So Shayna, I'm going to hand it back to you, and we've only got an hour, so we want to make the best use of it.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we're going to start off by first hearing from the community, and then we'll jump into some information that we've prepared on top of it. So this is your chance. If you have a question, put a Q in the chat or raise your hand, and I'll just moderate and we'll go one by one. We'll start with Dee.
Hi, good evening. Thanks to everyone for being here. This is Dee Chavez Harms. I chair the planning group for Valley Center. And thank you, Supervisor Desmond and all the county staff and everyone in our community that's here. This is really important. I would like someone to give me clarification because I'm confused on the grant from Caltrans, the funds that were received. And my understanding, those funds were to do a study, but the funds were essentially used to actually start the process of designing. So I just need some clarification on that.
Is that Lynette or PDS? Yeah, go for it.
Yes. So we did receive a grant from Caltrans in regard to developing a concept plan for the corridor to address a variety of different issues. So that funding is underway for the Valley Center Road Corridor Concept Plan. So that is what, and part of that effort has included studies. So studies have been conducted, and I believe links of that are on the project webpage, and I can provide that link in the chat for you.
Thank you.
Donna?
Hi, I'm going to try to explain as clearly as possible. I have a concern about the traffic near Woods Valley Road. I live in the Banbury Drive area, and as I come down, I turn left onto the Valley Parkway, and people are coming up the grade, okay? And I go through the light at Woods Valley and I want to turn left into where the Chamber of Commerce building is, where the Inspirations Quilt Shop. People travel in that center lane coming towards me. Sometimes for 1,000 feet, I've seen them. And I have to stop the traffic behind me in order to, have time to get into that center lane and make my left turn. So I'm concerned about that, whether any of the plans address making that a safer turn.
Donna, this is Murali at the County of San Diego and Public Works. We'll be happy to look at it. Certainly the traffic signal is supposed to provide that safety for you to make the turn to get onto Valley Center Road. But if someone is traveling in a
Oh, no,
two-way
I'm
left lane.
sorry. I don't think you understood. I can make that turn. That's fine. It's when after I've gone through the light, I need to turn left into the parking lot of the Inspirations Quilt Shop or the Chamber of Commerce building. And so I have to get into the center lane to turn left shortly after that light. And people are coming towards me out of Valley Center in that lane. And so it's dangerous.
I understand your question. I was not, you explained yourself very clearly the first time, and
Oh,
I
good.
appreciate
Okay.
that. It's a question of people they should not be in the center lane if they're going straight. The center lane is for people to make the turns. That's the reason why we have the center lane. And you bring up a good point. It's a question of how do we manage driver behavior through appropriate design if possible, but more importantly, through enforcement. So that's the area that we need to look at to see what can we do to further enforce the rules of the road where people are staying in their travel lanes.
Right. They get into that lane in order to turn left onto Woods Valley Road. So I understand that. It's just that it makes it very hard to be safe and turn left so close to the light. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Any other questions?
And I would just remind people to raise their virtual hand if you can do that on the bottom, so we can get to it. I know Dee has one. That way we just don't have people
I have a question.
yelling over each other. Okay, yeah, Pamela, sorry.
Okay. My name is Pamela. Thank you, Supervisor Jim Desmond, for pulling this meeting together. I'm sure there's been other meetings. I just haven't been able to reach out to different committees. I live on Old Castle Road, and I was surprised not to hear that Old Castle was one of the roads that was being considered for safety issues. I've lived here since 2010. I moved here from Oceanside by Guahomie Park in 76. Anyway, I've lived here since 2010, and there's just continued accidents week after week. When I first started calling the office in 2010, you were not the supervisor, I believe, at the time. And I was reporting that there were students. I would leave at 6:40 in the morning to go to my county office, and I would monitor children, teenagers dodging, because we do not have sidewalks on Old Castle. I was monitoring teenagers dodging in and out of driveways because the traffic was coming down the hill so fast that they would dodge and they would go in and out of driveways to make it to the bus station down at the A-frame building, down about a quarter mile or half a mile from Champaign Boulevard. That was a big concern of mine. It wasn't even the accidents at the time. That was a big concern of mine, that children were being possibly hit by cars. Didn't hear of any, but then within 3 months, our mailbox was taken out by a drunk driver coming back from one of the casinos. After that, it's like clockwork. We're hearing more fire trucks, more ambulances driving by here. So the problem is with Old Castle is that it's a residential area. People coming down Valley Center, people coming down Old Castle Road off that hill, and I'm guilty too. They're coming down that hill doing 60, 70 miles an hour, and they come into that residential area at 60, 70 miles an hour. My neighbor, whose house I'm at right now, she's 78, her husband's 86. They are scared to death on this road. Mostly the homes along this road are retired folks. Their mailbox and I mean, their trash can is hit at least twice a month. And we have pictures to show you. Where I live, a few houses down closer to the bridge, going up to Old Castle, is not so bad. We kind of have a flat driveway, but all the other neighbors have driveways like this coming out and a really sharp corner coming down off of Old Castle. So the speed limit coming into our residential area is 45. And it's again, it's not monitored, or I guess they don't have the staff to monitor it. I've called a number of times. I've called 7 times since 2020. And since 2010, I can't even count how many times I've called. I've called over 35 times. And I've just been told that there's committees after committees after committees, and someone will call me, And I haven't reached out either. I let it go as well. I do. However, I really, really wish that there could be something done with, something to be done with traffic coming down the hill and coming in from the other direction on 15, whether I have introduced possibly a roundabout before the bridge. There are no houses over there, and a roundabout perhaps coming from 15 to slow traffic down. My dog was killed out here in 2013. Many dogs were killed out here because just even going to visit a neighbor across the street, this is what happens because the cars are going so fast.
We get it. We get your concern. We truly get your concern. We understand it, and we understand your concerns with speeding on Old Castle Road, which seems to be the theme. And as you rightly pointed out, most of the people who are driving, they just need a couple of issues here. One is either through a proper design of traffic signal, proper design, slow everybody down, as you alerted to as roundabouts as an option. But more in the near term, what we could consider doing, and we'll partner with our friends from CHP, and they're here. We could look at obtaining some speed data to determine. It's possible that not everybody is conscientiously speeding, just as you indicated that you're guilty as charged too with regards to speeding on the roadway. So we will get a speed data on Old Castle Road to determine certain times of the day where there's a propensity of higher speed than what it is, so that we can request targeted enforcement from our friends with CHP. It's not fair to ask them to come out and park there for 24/7. So we'll certainly be in a better position to look at some targeted enforcement as a near-term solution. And usually that has worked effectively. I know CHP is here. Maybe they can add a little bit more to Old Castle Road.
Well, what I do have to address that when I did call, I wrote to Supervisor Desmond several months ago, and I did get a call from the county, and I'm not sure if that was you, sir. I did get a call, or Hunter. I'm not sure who it was I talked to, but they said basically they addressed me to talk to then the sheriff. The county had addressed me to just listen to me, and then they addressed me to the county sheriff's department, and then I was addressed to talk to Adam, and each and every one of those said, we're just not staffed. We're just not staffed. We don't have anybody to come out here. So it's a continued problem. And so I don't know, I'm asking how I can help. Every time I address the county, I ask how I can help, because people are starting to take action. They're starting to put cones out there to slow traffic down. And other neighbors are concerned that these cones are going to direct cars into someone's house, because they're taking action into their own hands. What should we do?
Okay. Well, we'll work on that, because what we're trying to do is get the input. I don't know if we're going to have all the solutions tonight, but it definitely got your input for Old Castle Road and sidewalks and things there. Well, we could probably do more with you offline, and we've got quite a few hands up. We want to make sure we get to everybody tonight. So Pamela, it's okay we get back. And thanks for working with us and be willing to look for solutions. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dee, back to you.
Thank you. With Valley Center being in such a high fire district, we are an intensely high fire area. Why is the Planning and Development Services so keen on having so many roundabouts in this short little area of 2.5 miles, when roundabouts are going to incredibly slow down emergency evacuation? When we have traffic lights, CHP, fire, sheriff can control them. And emergency evacuation is going to be able to be facilitated very efficiently and smoothly and quickly. And that's going to save lives. I know that there are a small amount of people that are very intent on roundabouts, and I'm not opposed to them in a community where it's more urban. But when we are trying to evacuate large animals, large horse trailers, large semis, and in a roundabout, it's just going to cause a plethora of problems. And I'm not sure that that has really been taken into consideration. And if so, I'd like to know what studies have been used to come up with the current plan or this proposal. And what other options have you presented to us other than this one, minimizing our car lane, taking away and adding more bike? I understand Sandag and the Green New Deal want us, they don't want anyone driving. We understand that. And that might work in an urban area, but it's not going to work for Valley Center because not everyone in Valley Center works from home. We still have to drive, and we still need to be able to egress and ingress into Valley Center safely and efficiently. So I would like some answers to these questions.
Morale, is that something you can get back to Dee with?
Absolutely, Supervisor. I was just making notes that we'll circle back to the on this longer term unfunded conceptual plan that has been presented to the community in different forums by our friends from PDS team. But happy to sit down with them offline because our consultant has done some of that research. We can bring back that research and concepts for further fine tuning.
Morale, one
Just
thing
to add to
on
that, Supervisor Desmond, well, I was just going to mention that we do have Lynette here from Long Range Planning that might be able to speak to whether or not we've done any sort of analysis on are these roundabouts going to impact the ability to evacuate during a fire, whether it's just residential folks or Dee, I think you touched on like ag users, right, which are pulling trailers, moving large animals, things of that nature. So we've got Lynette here too.
and it's not a concept, ladies and gentlemen, that looks good on paper. I mean, you can't have a textbook analysis that checks all the boxes. This is real time in real life in a small little community. And what may look good on paper may not work in real time. And I don't want anyone here to have the liability on them when an emergency happens. And emergencies aren't just fire, it's also flood. It's also sheriff responding to a robbery or a house break-in or something like that. I want somebody to get to my home as quickly as possiy.
Well, Dee,
Please just keep that in mind.
Let us get to the studies and see what I have no idea what's better or worse for evacuation, and hopefully the studies will tell us. And you know, and like you said, in practicality, we can look at it as well. But we've got you know, that's something we can get back to you on. Is there? I know we got several more hands up here. Shana, should we keep going? Dee,
Yeah, we should. So in the interest of time, I'm going to keep moving forward. That is a very important point, but it is very long range. And this meeting was mostly about short range, what we can do immediately and in the short term to help mitigate all the traffic issues. So I'm going to keep moving forward, but we will respond back to you, Dee, and get back to you with answering all your questions. John, I'm going to go to you. John Bick.
Yeah, my question was very similar to Dee's actually. I'm all in favor of reducing the speed on Valley Center Road, but keeping the traffic moving. And I wanted to ask a question about how the combination of roundabouts and traffic lights would facilitate emergency vehicles getting through that area if there is an evacuation.
John, for the interest of time, because this is more long-range planning, are you okay if we have staff follow up with you directly and Dee with that response?
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. James?
I just wanted to second the whole Old Castle. I didn't know it wasn't part of the study or anything like that. But as far as Old Castle, I have to second that. I go that way, and I'm regularly passed over the double yellow line. If you go the speed limit, you're getting passed. So the enforcement is zero. I understand staffing issues, and then so I just have to second that if there's some sort of near-term future, and then as long also with the is the Lilac, where the Lilac turn, old Lilac and Old Castle where it changes, is that part of the solution as well? There's been, countless accidents right there.
Believe Morale.
Yeah, again, sorry,
Yeah.
Shana.
Go for it.
Not too quick to unmute, but we get it, James. We get it. Old Castle Road, I made notes. We will come back and do a focus study on Old Castle Road to determine the prevailing speeds on the road and what in the near term with paint or signs that we can make some driver behavior changes. We will look into it and make those changes in the short term, as Shana alluded to, and also work with our partners in CHP to see where we can get some focused, targeted enforcement. It helps in the short term to just give that slight wake up call to the motorists to say, hey,
Right.
follow the rules of the road. And they do, generally they do.
With the anticipation of more traffic going that way as well from the new developments and everything, that's just going to get obviously compounded and worse. So no,
We appreciate it. We got
Yeah, no,
Old
thanks for
Castle
the
Road.
meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Erica?
Hi, thank you so much. I just want to say thank you to everyone for this meeting. I did want to make sure that I stayed on the focus of the call. I did want to say thank you very much to CHP for the increased presence on the grade. But when we're referring to Valley Center Road, are we referring to the grade as well? Because I know as far as the plans and future plans, it's not the roundabouts, it's not the stoplights, because it's a completely separate area. Are we going to be addressing what we call the quote grade on this call? If we are, then you can go on to the next question. If you're not, if we can earmark that as a study or an option or something that we can look at as far as what some options are that are being considered, and is anything being considered as far as lowering the speed limit from the 60 miles an hour to at least mitigate. I understand that we are a little bit short-staffed in regards to the CHP and they're doing everything they can, but is there something in the short term that can be done as far as reduced speeds in the meantime if we're not able to have the presence there?
Erica, this is Murali. With regards to establishing speed limits, it's really it's all of you that drive the road that essentially set the speed limits on the road. The state law is very clear that we can't artificially lower the speed and expect it to be enforced. That's kind of a tough situation for us to be in. We recently did go out and measure, and the posted speed limits are what they are enforceable today. However, there are other things that are happening in the near future, especially at Ridge Ranch, Valley Center, in that area. We'd be happy to go back and remeasure that speed so that we can come back and have a dialogue through the supervisor's office with regards to enforceable speed limit that can be actually enforced. There are some changes that happened recently at the state from the ability to lower the speed limits. So we'll be happy to relook at the entire stretch of Valley Center from Escondido city limits all the way into the town.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Letty?
I'm using my daughter's computer, but my name's Anthony. I'm a new resident, and I really enjoy this Valley Center, being new here and stuff, but I do realize we do have a traffic problem. And I want to thank the CHP because I've seen them out on this road a little bit more often, which is nice. And I know they're understaffed, but I was wondering, I don't know if it would work, and I know we're looking at new ideas. We don't want to poo-poo anything. One of mine is maybe that, how we have the sign that tells us how speed, if you're going over the speed limit, but if can we set up something that could monitor and find out if a car seems to be frequently doing that they can be sent, because I'm sure we can't give them a ticket, but if they were aware that they're being monitored, if they were to get, a warning that you've been hit at this time 3 times and you're breaking the speed limit, do you think something like that could happen? I mean, I hope it don't sound like a crazy idea, But see, it's just like a warning saying, hey, this car has been here at this time. It's broken the speed limit 3 times and we're going to have to, you know, there could be other things to happen, but I don't know what the legal complications of that would be or implications that would be.
But you just said it, you answered your own question. There are certain legal implications of targeted monitoring. Surveillance is the word that is used, and certainly it is not legal for us to surveil, especially with regards to traffic violations, unless a CHP officer is out there to watch it. However, you bring up good points of generally reminding motorists what the posted speed limit is and what speed they're traveling. In fact, if you come into town, especially from Escondido into town past, we do have a couple of those signs that are on the northbound and on the eastbound side. One of the things that we could augment is to mirror those for the westbound and southbound side and post the signs that they're called vehicle speed feedback signs, that they're reminders for folks to essentially follow the speed limit of the roadway and tell them what their speed is. And we could certainly look into those kind of near-term solutions to just, again, enforce driver behavior through appropriate signage where needed.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Dory?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this time. I just wanted to, since you're talking about short-term versus long-term needs, I know Mira de Valier has a problem, a very severe problem at Valley Center Road. There's a visibility issue that needs to be addressed. And so some of these ways that we can maybe alter the flow of traffic right there, since we can't get the light right away, is maybe we can implement for a short-term solution, a stop sign, just a basic stop sign. And maybe that could be something that we can implement even at Miller or Vesper or even at Lilac and Oldcastle, something to slow people down temporarily until we get a long-term solution, since these solutions seem very costly. There's a lot of debate around roundabouts. I'm not a fan, especially in this high fire district that we're in and have been in a community that's been evacuated 4 times. So I'm not a fan of the roundabouts, but I think if we could at least try a solution of a stop sign to start with and see where it goes, just to slow people down. Just a suggestion.
Very great idea. We wish we could do it, but the darn thing, pesky little thing called state law that specifically prohibits use of stop signs for slowing the speed down. It's very clearly written in the state law that it's illegal for us to install stop signs to slow people down. But certainly you bring up a good point of Mira de Valle and Valley Center Road. It's definitely in our focus area, and we have been engaged. I can certainly tell you, my friends in our planning team have been engaged with both developments on the east and the west side of that intersection, the Park Circle and the Libertyville Plaza, to push them, nudge them to bring in the traffic signal, because both of them have been conditioned to construct the traffic signal. So we will continue to engage. Mira de Valle is definitely on the top of our review, because you're absolutely right. There have been some accidents at that location. People are in a hurry to get through that intersection for some reason. I wish we had a solution to share with you today, but we don't. But we're certainly talking to all the right people to see what can be done in the near term while we're waiting for the traffic signals. More to come on that one.
Murali, can I add on to your
please, Ernie,
answer? Also, this is Ernie Bartley. I work in DPW with Murali. I just wanted to acknowledge that I did hear a request for looking at the intersection of Oldcastle and Lilac, where it turns into Lilac. I will have my team, I'd be happy to look at that intersection to see. Murali mentioned that stop signs, always stops that we would put in are maybe illegal, but more to that is that we have to study and look at the metrics. So I think what Murali was really saying is Valley Center Road carries 24,000 cars. So if we simply put an always stop on Valley Center Road, we risk the traffic backing up into signals that are there. So because there's such a great volume of traffic on that road. But I'd be happy to engage with my team and look at Lilac and Oldcastle to see if those volumes work out.
Thank you. All right, in the interest of time, I'm going to have Lisa and Marion, and then we have some information prepared from CHP, the county, and sheriff that I want to give time for them to address and talk to the community too. So Lisa?
This meeting is for accidents and speeds in Valley Center. What will be done regarding the accidents and the speeds? What is planned to immediately handle those issues?
So I believe CHP in the county have some answers for that. Do you want to wait?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, and then we can come back to that if that's not directly addressed when they have their chance to say a couple words. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Marion? You're muted.
Sorry about that. Okay, so this might be a little on the simplistic side, but you're looking for quick answers. What about some sort of like a grassroots community action where we all pull together? Like there used to be a sticker that said drive slow, slow it down, we love our little town, or drive sober, slow it down. I mean, just some sort of a grassroots community program to get the word out that we're looking for safer roads, because it all comes back to you could change the speed limits, but people are still going to speed. Or I've been going down Old Castle plenty of times where somebody only went 40. The slow drivers are just as bad as the fast drivers, you know, so it's not, so you want to do something in the quick term. I don't know if there's studies or programs out there that other communities have done throughout the nation, throughout the county, just some sort of public awareness, because it's going to start with the people that live in Valley Center and then maybe spread it to, you know, if we could pull in the casinos, because that's where a lot of our traffic comes from, is from the casinos. So can we get them on board to, I don't know, signs in the bathroom, you know, just little things like that, that it's just like in people's faces that they need to drive defensively, slow down. Think about you're coming through a town where people live.
Brilliant, excellent points, right on the money. And there are some national studies that have been done that show value, especially in residential areas. What we're dealing with is a commuter traffic through Valley Center going out of Valley Center area, but we'll certainly come back. That's a very good, you bring up very good points. Use of Nextdoor apps, use of social media, use of the large employers that are in vicinity of Valley Center. We need to look into that, and certainly I don't have answers to it, but we'll certainly come back and discuss this issue further about educating the public to just be in when you're in town, just drive as if you live in the town. So we get it. More to come. Again, I don't have answers, but good points.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I want to give some time for CHP. I know we have Lieutenant Morenberg on, right?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, with me I have Lieutenant Dan Kyle and Sergeant Todd Maxon. Just to cover, I think Dan Kyle will just cover a just brief. We looked at traffic collisions since 2016, and he has some numbers for us, and then I will go.
Nope, did we lose him?
Okay.
Sorry, you guys kind of broke up a little there. Just wanted to make sure we have you. Sorry, if you proceed, hopefully that was just one hiccup, so.
Okay, so we have the raw data for all the traffic collisions that occur within the CHP Oceansides area, which is pretty much all of the freeways and unincorporated areas in North County. We have 3 beats that we consider to be Valley Center. One is Valley Center Road, and the other are 2 area beats that surround it. And we could only go back to 2016. So we have statistics from 2016 all the way through 2021 and then year to date. I looked them over. It's kind of, while there is some of these things are very clear, others kind of waver over time, and it's really hard to draw really hard and fast statistical data, thank you, that really shows. I'll give you for example, last year DUI collisions were way down in all of Valley Center from the average of 45 per year. It was down to 34, but this year it's up to 34 or 35 already. So these are big fluctuations, but over time, what I saw mostly over this time is that the total number of traffic collisions is up from about 90 for Valley Center Road, which is our B27, is up about 20. The average is 93. Last year, the full year of 2021 was 109. But as I said, things kind of fluctuated. That's the one line that you can kind of see going up. 2020 is a little different because it was COVID. So almost all the statistics dropped a great deal in 2020. We had a question about that we wanted to address. Someone brought up to us, it might have been the supervisor's office, about DUI intersection collisions. It was up slightly. Our average DUI intersection collisions for Valley Center is 4.3 per year. 2021 was at 5, but this year we're 8 months in and we have only had 1. Our DUI fatals are down this right now, and our overall fatals are down, but the total number of collisions is up slightly. These numbers are about as good as they're going to get. We got them directly from our dashboard.
Oh, they froze again.
Some of these are off, but it's pretty good numbers that we have here. Are we breaking up?
It kind of went out for a little, but
okay.
then it comes back.
I think the bigger picture, what I gathered from this is there's up and downs in all of these trends. We looked at total collisions, day DUI at intersections, fatal and DUI fatals, up and down a little bit. We're not seeing huge spikes except on the most that we saw is on Valley Center Road itself. With that being said, we think that we have some good information for you about what we are going to do with some proactive efforts coming up. We here in the Highway Patrol, we feel that vigorous traffic enforcement is the best for everybody. We all are better off when we are out in black and whites enforcing all the speed laws and other vehicle code violations. So Lieutenant Morenberg is going to go over some of the efforts that we've already started and some of the information that we've been putting on the internet so that you guys can see our efforts a little bit better through our social media pages, but he'll go over some of that right now.
So some of the things we're going to do, we saw that you guys have combat that. What we do is we put out our radar trailers on a weekly basis, and it's not just the Valley Center community, but it's Fallbrook, it's Bonsall, it's Rancho Santa Fe, and unincorporated Vista, and some unincorporated Escondido areas that we have as well. So we try and rotate it around as best we can. It's a mechanical device, so it sometimes breaks down. We have to send it in for repair, but we do try to put it out on a weekly basis. One of the other things we're trying to do is we are developing a matrix where we can follow where we are sending officers out and keep track of that so we can disperse it correctly, as well as looking at social media and seeing those trouble spots where we can distribute those officers. Right now, we are about 25% understaffed. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to utilize our auxiliary officers. And those officers are officers like we have a couple of detectives. We have officers who do VIN inspections for the DMV. We have our public affair officer. We have a officer who takes care of state facilities. And what we're trying to do is to send them out into those troubled spots as we follow it. And we're also trying to make that known by posting that on our social media page. Another thing we're trying to look at when it comes to the DUI activity is focusing on where we have our DUI TCs and trying to increase the enforcement out there. One of the things we are doing for Valley Center is we're going to have a checkpoint in Valley Center in early September to help combat and educate in DUI. So those are a few things that we're doing right now. You know, we're getting the phone calls and we're aware of the traffic needs for Valley Center. And then we've looked at the statistical data as Dan spoke. We're not seeing a huge influx in actual TCs more than other years, but that doesn't mean that people aren't driving out of control either. We're limited on our statistical data.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty clear that we are getting a message from the public that people are driving more recklessly and at higher speeds, especially on Valley Center Road and then in the general area. We're also getting that from our unincorporated areas in Fallbrook and Rancho Santa Fe. So we're just going to try to utilize our resources and really kind of hit these.
It's like we may have lost them, Shayna.
Are they coming back?
We're here.
Hey.
There they are.
All right.
Got you.
sorry, our internet connection is not the best. Like
May I
I
ask
said,
a question?
Fire away.
Not Officer Nielsen, the other gentleman at the other end. You said there were 93 accidents on VCR, Valley Center Road, for 22 so far?
I'm sorry, for Valley Center Road, we have that as beat 27. The
total 52 so
what is it?
far. This year, we have a total 52 TCs this year so far. Is that what you're asking?
52?
Yeah,
as of this year,
on
from
Valley Center Road.
January to, I think, June, basically.
Right. In 2021, we had 109.
Yes, I saw that. Okay.
The
So
6-year
do you
average
have
is-
any statistics for Old Castle?
I not as a single beat on Old Castle Road. That we the only one that we'll call a line beat is Valley Center Road that we keep a separate statistic on. The other ones are just general areas. So unfortunately, I couldn't tell you exactly that. So for Old Castle Road.
Old Castle will be considered beat 212 for us, and it just not just encompasses Old Castle, but it's a lot more. It covers East Grade and a bunch of other areas in there.
Yeah. If
Okay,
you
well, that's helpful to understand. That's helpful to understand. Okay. Is there any way in the near future to start keeping track of this? I mean, I have my own.
look them up by that single road, but we don't have it broken down that way tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Pamela, to answer your question regarding traffic safety on Old Castle Road, one of the things that we will be doing as part of our study, and thanks to our friends in CHP, we get the accident reports, all that are reported, not privately held or individuals not reporting. We get the CHP reports, and we will be looking at accidents, accident trends, and causation of accidents as part of our focus study. So we'll be collecting data which includes both the accidents, cause of accidents, time of the day, nature of the accidents, DUIs or not, if they're reported. We'll be collecting all that data in our assessment along with vehicle speeds on the roadway. That way CHP can get that concentrated information back from us in terms of focused enforcement if need be. And for us also to look at other means of reducing those accidents if possible.
Great. Actually, CHP, did you have anything else you wanted to add before I kick it back to Morali?
We're hearing everyone loud and clear. It's not just the folks in Valley Center. We understand that you are not seeing as much of us as you would like, and it's not. You're not wrong. There are fewer of us out there. We are going to do our best to focus some very focused enforcement on certain roads out there, and then we are going to get it out on social media as often as we can, because sometimes you guys are going to miss us while we're out there. So we want to let you know that we are. Every quarter, at the end of the quarter, we are going to compile the locations that we went to, the number of enforcement stops that we made, and where we were during that quarter. And we're going to put that out on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. And we'll get some of these statistics, because right now I've got this great big spreadsheet that none of you are looking at, but we will try to do our best so that you can see what's going on in your neighborhood, what's going on in your community. We'd like to be as transparent as we can, but we also want to let you know when we're out there. So we're going to kind of use our social media pages a little bit more efficiently coming up to let you know what we're doing out.
Great, thank you.
Shayna, if I can just jump in, we'll also help facilitate those numbers out as
Absolutely.
well. So we can certainly help, just like we got everybody on here tonight. Sorry.
Great. So in the interest of time, I know Morali and his team have some information to share with the community about more longer term solutions. Morali?
Thank you, Shana. We do have some suggestions before I get there. I echo what my friends in CHP have said. We heard the community loud and clear. We know the community. We have the sense of the community and the concerns, and over years we have tried to address them in bits and pieces. But when we looked at the data that we had through the CHP, and there's been a discussion about roundabouts are dangerous, traffic signals are safer, and all that stuff, I just want to give a sense to the community. When we reviewed Valley Center Road corridor from Colgate Road down towards Ridge Ranch Road, the hotspots that we identified are, as you probably all guessed, at the signalized intersections today. At Valley Center Road and Colgate Road, we have had a number of broadside accidents. At Lilac and Valley Center Road, we have had a number of broadside accidents. At Miradavai, which is not a signal yet, we have had broadside accidents. And certainly at Woods Valley Road and Valley Center Road, there have been broadside accidents. Now we're getting into the details of what was the causation of some of these accidents, and more importantly, but the perspective through which we are approaching them is to see if we can modify the traffic signal timing at these three signalized intersections to see if we can correct or eliminate any potential confusion to the drivers as they are going through these signalized intersections. So that's one of the first things that we are doing, is we're evaluating all these three traffic signals during different times of the day: morning rush hour, evening rush hour, school dismissal, school arrival timeframes, to see what can be done to alter the traffic signal timing so that there can be a safer flow through these intersections. And if we can reduce those broadside accidents, that'll be a big plus for us to enhance the safety of these corridors. The second thing that we are looking at, obviously someone pointed out about the vehicle speed feedback signs. Obviously we have a couple of them, but I think it is important that we augment them with more. And Lieutenant Norenberg did mention about this portable vehicle speed feedback signs, the radar trailer. That's a great tool, but we are also thinking about augmenting, Lieutenant, with a couple of permanent vehicle speed feedback signs, especially for the westbound to southbound traffic coming away from the casinos, going down the grade towards the grade in that general area, so that we can alert the motorists to follow the posted speed limit that is enforceable by you all. That's the second thing that we are also looking at doing. And the third and the most important thing is that we're doing is we have designed a traffic signal at the intersection of Ridge Ranch Road and Valley Center Road. And we are taking it to the Board of Supervisors on August 17 to seek authorization to essentially award a construction contract to get the traffic signal constructed. So that's happening also in the near to mid term. So our plan is to get this traffic signal constructed as soon as possible. That way, folks exiting the Ridge Ranch Road or coming up to the gate have a sense of understanding. Now, I know some people have concerns with it's going to be a steep upgrade and there's going to be a traffic signal, you're going to stop people. The traffic signal will actually help reduce the speeds on the roadway by virtue of providing advanced notification to the motorists about a change in traffic signal to a red light. So the traffic coming up the grade especially will be able to be metered better with the traffic signal. And same thing with the traffic exiting the town, going down into the grade. If there is a red light there, guess what? They come to a complete stop before they go down the grade. So the speeds that we have seen, the most recent accident that we have seen with people getting caught at the downgrade and flipping the vehicles, this traffic signal will address safety of those driver behaviors. So we have the near term modifying the traffic signal timing at these existing signalized intersections, getting the vehicle speed feedback signs into the community, especially for the westbound and southbound direction, and then getting our Board of Supervisors approval on August 17 to get the construction contract going for the traffic signal would be the three things that we are doing in the near term. And certainly the long term, we want to continue to have the discussion about this currently concept that has been laid out with roundabouts and traffic calming and bike lanes. We hear the community and we hear some of the thoughts and discussions on both sides, but at the end of the day, we fully acknowledge that we want to partner with the community and get to a solution that we know not everybody will be happy with, but certainly it will address the concerns that you all have collectively raised with regards to accidents, speeds, and at the same time, being able to evacuate in case of emergencies. I know I've read the report that Joe has prepared for the Valley Center fire, and I appreciate that, Joe, your report was very succinct to the point with regards to evacuations. We get it, but those are the discussions that are valid as we go forward with evolving these concepts to the next level.
All right. Thank you, Murali. With our last few minutes, I know we have Under Sheriff Kelly Martinez on the call. I want to be able to give her an opportunity to address everybody.
Yeah, thanks. I'd actually like to have Lieutenant Emig speak first. He's your lieutenant in the Valley Center community, and I know that he's got a couple of things he'd like to say.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. I know we're short on time, so I don't want to take much, but I really appreciate this social forum. I think this is the answer to all of our problems. It may take a while to get there, but regarding the roundabouts, Chief Napier and I have had numerous discussions on them, and the choice is going to be made by the people. There's pros and cons to having the roundabouts, and there's pros and cons to not having the roundabouts. And those decisions need to be made by the residents of Valley Center. What they want, they'll get, and they'll have to live with the good and the bad that comes of it. Regarding CHP, I know they're short-staffed. Pretty much everybody in the country in law enforcement is short-staffed, so that's something that we're all trying to deal with and alleviate by hiring new and qualified people. We work with CHP all the time. Our deputies, because we're in an unincorporated area and they're not specifically traffic trained like the CHP are. However, we are completely capable of writing citations, pulling people over, and a lot of the people we pull over are impaired and visit some of the attractions that are in Valley Center and draw visitors into the area. And a lot of times they're impaired. A lot of times they have illegal substances on them, and those people either get cited or arrested by either Sheriff's Department or CHP. We also have access to speed trailers, so I'll look into that and see if we can help CHP and the county get some more speed trailers out there. I like that idea. And finally, thank you for involving me in this community forum. I think it's a very positive effort.
Thank you. We really appreciate your time and you being here.
And I'll just piggyback really quickly. I want to thank the supervisor and his office for bringing together so many people. This is a very important subject. It's very important to our community, and it's important that we hear your needs and where you're seeing the problems. So thank you everyone for taking time out tonight.
You're welcome. All right, and I know we have Chief Napier on the line. Did you want to say a couple words or?
Sure, you bet. So first and foremost, thanks again for inviting the Valley Center Fire Protection District. And I want to reiterate what Lieutenant Emig and the rest of our public safety partners are accomplishing in Valley Center through collaboration and relentless communication. I also want to say that Valley Center Fire Protection District has been working very closely with Kevin and Murali and that entire team with Lynette to make absolutely sure whatever the design concept comes to the general public for discussion and for community leaders to have those ongoing serious concept discussions. And again, these are just concepts to help us solve long-term problems with the amount of density that we have coming into Valley Center. 636 homes are coming in, 200 of them are occupied now, and using Sandag's math, that's about 2,300 people that are going to come by the springtime and into next summer that are going to be on our roadways and going to our schools and being customers for public safety to take care of. And so these are great conversations for us to have, and thank you Supervisor Desmond and your team for giving us the ability to have these conversations. One thing I saw in the chat that somebody had a question about evacuation. We have a monthly evacuation meeting that includes all of our public safety partners and the planning group. And in the event that we have a fire at Old Castle and Lilac, we have a couple of ways out there, and we will control with hard closure, utilizing CHP, that intersection and get people out Cooser Canyon, get people out Lilac all the way out to the 76 and West Lilac, if that is not impacted by fire, all the way out to the 15. So we have a great plan. We have a great network to get people out. That will happen right from the command post so that we don't evacuate people into harm's way. And we will continue to work with the planning group. We will continue to work with the team down at PDS, Lynette and Kevin and everybody to make absolutely sure that whatever plan comes post-concept, and it's going to take a while to get all that up and running, that it's a safe plan for the public, a safe plan for first responders. It addresses evacuation and the road capacity that it's going to take to do a general evacuation of Valley Center. And then lastly, that we understand that it's that the human element of roundabouts and the human element of changes on the roadway is going to take a while for people to get used to their new environment. So patience is the rule of the day. And thanks again. And we'll see you at the next one.
Hey, well,
Yep. Go
Shana,
for it.
can I take it?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, I just want to thank everybody for coming on here tonight and taking the time to do this. I know we don't have a lot of time in the interest of getting our staff, some time off as well. Everybody's kind of working after hours tonight, and I really appreciate, the effort here and hearing from everybody on the issues. And I know there's many different ways. I know Dee, you would ask for studies and whether roundabouts are better or not. We really got to work closely with Chief Napier and our Department of Public Works and everything else. We want to hear what those are the experts on this and what's the best, safest way, in the long term for the roads and the infrastructure to make sure that we have as safe as we possibly can evacuation routes that work for trailers and horses and fire trucks and all the other equipment that needs to be gotten through, and people as well in the case of the fire. But I don't want to just kind of leave it at we do these meetings and then we don't hear from each other on this. There's many different groups. I was just curious if our county staff, DPW, could go to, I know Dee's chair of the planning group, maybe go to the planning group and talk about these studies that she was asking about. Maybe get some of the results and get some feedback and input. We've also got a Revite committee meeting coming up very soon. And we have a transportation committee on there as well. And so we want to try to get everybody pretty much synced up if we can, and also give feedback. And, Pamela, I understand you want, Old Castle Road needs to be part of the equation here. And, an educational effort actually sounded, like a good idea. If the citizens are, maybe willing to take that up or head that up. I've got grant dollars. If you need stickers or flyers or whatever, we might be able to help out with that effort. And I really want to thank the CHP. The CHP, you guys are all sitting there, but you need some better internet at the CHP. And then our Deputy Undersheriff Kelly Martinez and our Mr. I'm sorry, I want to get your name right. Get your name right. I'm sorry.
Emig.
Planning. Emig. Jim Emig. So the lieutenant. So thank you very much, everybody. So we're going to try to follow up. We don't want to just drop these things. We're going to follow up and get back with you. Maybe we have another meeting, or we do it during the Revites or the planning committee meetings. But let's keep this dialogue going, and hopefully we can get to better solutions. And absolutely, we love our law enforcement agencies, CHP. The more we can see you out there, and I think the more the residents see of you, the more that I think we're going to be able to get accomplished. And I know you're doing your best you can. And if we can see more of you, it'd be great. So thanks everybody for being here. We'll keep the conversation up, and always happy to chat with Valley Center. And if we can fix things, we'll do the best we can. So thanks for being here tonight. Take care. Bye-bye.